Ep45.
Yep.
Back at it. Got Dave and Richard in the house.
What's going on, everybody?
Yeah. Hey.
So yeah, we got a fun episode. We're gonna dig into the U.S. Disc Golf Championships. It's a very fun project we just wrapped up. Just got back from traveling. We're also gonna dig into a little bit into Creative Works, which we actually just got back from that as well. So that was fun. And then we're gonna end with some new products that we have in the shop. So should be a good episode. But first, let's get to some questions from the audience and the YouTube channel.
Bring them on.
17 Collective Rights. How do you go about sourcing a good quality shirt or sweatshirt for custom printing?
T-blanks. It's a challenge, Richard. You dealt with this in the past.
Yeah, it's dependent on inventory, also like how quantities of what you're ordering. Because if you're ordering a lot, they'll send you samples, and I always like to have samples so I can actually print graphics out, cut them out, get the sizing right. To really see how it looks in person. So it just depends on what you're looking for. But there's a lot of stuff out there. Yeah,
there is. Even like how it fits, the weight, how soft it is. Yeah. We had tees we were using for a while through AAA All Style, and they were purchased by Gildan, and then they killed that blank. So now we're kind of in the process of finding basically a new blank we want to use.
And we tested out what was it, Next Level, which is a good.
Yep.
I think it's like a tri-blend, tee, which feels good. I like it.
They're soft. They're nice.
Totally.
Got one on right here.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
I have several of them. Yeah.
I mean, I would encourage just ask your screen printer, for samples, or hey, what do you guys, recommend? Can you send me a sample or whatever? For the most part, they'll probably make you pay for it, but it's going to be $4 or $5 for a blank tee, so it's worth buying. A bunch of different brands, try them on, and see how they fit. Cool. So last week we had Mark Brickey in, episode 44, longtime friend of the studio and everything. So that was rad.
Good episode.
Yeah, it was cool.
He's a national treasure.
It
was great having his energy in the office.
Yeah, he's a great dude. Yeah. So got a bunch of new subscribers from that, so thank you guys for watching and subscribing. It was cool to sit down with Mark. He's deep into YouTube now, so even him and Will and Jake sat down for like an hour and just chopped it up about YouTube and like the different algorithms and shit. So yeah, it was cool.
He's a pro at what he does. He knows his stuff, so it was cool to have him. Yeah,
he was doing podcasts back before. It was cool. So, yeah. So yeah, shout out to Mark Brickey in that episode. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. So I got an email, and I was shocked. Well, I wasn't shocked, but I thought for sure, I'm like, because I knew that you played disc golf. Mm-hmm. You have like kind of trophies, the discs hanging next to your desk in the old office, and you're like semi-pro or something, right?
Yeah, he is actually pretty.
Dave
good.
knows what he's doing. Dave knows what he's doing. So anyway, so that was kind of like my first, like honestly, when I saw next to your desk, I had no idea there was semi-pro, pro, anything like that. I had heard of disc golf, but just didn't even know you can make a living at it or any part of that, right? Until seeing you and all your awards. And so anyway, so then like, I don't know, 6 months later, we get an email. I get an email, and it's from the U.S. Disc Golf Championships, and they're like, hey, we're really interested in working with you guys. We got the event coming up in 9 months. Can we jump on a call? And so then I hit you in the office. I'm like, Dave, you forwarded that email, you turned them on to us, and you're like, no, what? I'm like, well, U.S. Disc Golf Championship just reached out, and I'm like, do you know what that is? And you're like, oh yeah, I know what that is. Yeah. So explain to us a little bit about who they are, what it is, the whole disc golf deal.
Yeah, so this must be something I just manifested into the universe, because it's definitely a market I've been wanting Lincoln to get into for a while. It's something that I've done passion projects for in the past just to build up my portfolio. And it's just an activity slash sport that I am very passionate about myself. I don't think a lot of people know about disc golf still, even though it is very upcoming right now. Its popularity is growing every year. I think the pandemic really helped propel that too. It's a great individual sport. You get outside, you get in the woods, you get to compete against yourself if you want to. But ultimately, it's very similar to traditional golf in the fact that you're starting from point A and you're getting to point B, and you're trying to do it in as few strokes as possible.
Gotcha.
Except for the differences, instead of having golf clubs and golf ball that you hit, your discs take place for both of those items. So you're just throwing this disc most of the time through the woods. There's lots of tough angles and different shots you have to make in order to be successful at it. But it's great because anyone can play it.
Yep.
and there's becoming a wide availability for places to play it at.
Yeah, and the barrier to entry is like, it's not super expensive as far
Very
as,
affordable.
a sport is. Like real golf, you got to get golf clubs and a bag and all this different stuff. And golf itself, you got to, it's pretty expensive
$100
to play.
for 18 holes and golf cart and
you can play this with just a few discs that cost $12 to $15 each and have a great time with just that. And most courses are free to play. Sometimes you have to pay for parking, but it's a great way to get out into nature.
Yeah, and then for the USDGC is like the biggest tournament in the US, right? So
I think it's the most prestigious tournament in the US. It's one of the longest running tournaments.
So this is like a dream project
years,
for you,
right, or something? Or
this was the 24th year. Next year will be their 25th anniversary. So this has been happening for a quarter century.
That's what's wild.
Think
like,
it's way newer than that, but
totally. Yeah.
It's been around. It's just really taking off right now.
Yeah, it's a legitimate sport. So most people don't realize. It's like, oh, is that a game you play in the park? Like, no, it's a real sport, real athletes. Big attendance as far as people spectating. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, so this specific tournament is the equivalent to the Masters of traditional golf.
Totally.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it's huge. So that's what you told me when I'm like, I got the email, and you're like, dude, that's a big deal. I'm like, oh shit, I don't know. So you were pumped that they reached out, and so we jumped on a call with them. They were super super cool, Jonathan and Jeff, and kind of right off the bat, which shocked me was they were like, we want you guys to do this, but we want you guys to do this for the next 3 or 4 years. Like, we want to establish a relationship, do this first one, and then continue to do it. A lot of clients don't do that. A lot of clients are like, let's do this one. If it turns out amazing, cool. Yeah. But you need to just crush it on this one, But they weren't like that.
No, they knew we were the fit for the job.
Yeah,
and some of that came from a lot of our work on the Do Tour. They referenced a lot of that and that event and, us doing that 4 years and everything. So
yeah, which was really interesting to me because, golf traditionally is a little bit more of a stuffier upper class sport. And then they wanted to bring this fun family style vibes to this tournament. Yeah. And I thought that was awesome. Like, let's make this appeal to everybody.
For sure. And after being there, it makes sense. It was a fun event, It definitely was not the golf stuffy kind of deal, so.
Yeah, and they were saying that, like, Lincoln, a lot of our stuff that we do is kind of cooler, edgier, and I think they wanted to bring that vibe to the disc golf world, and, that was kind of the goal, so.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, so let's kick it off. So jumped on a call. They wanted basically everything kind of A to Z as far as branding, brand book, event graphics, apparel, the whole deal. So
yeah, they were looking for a kit that they could take and just blow out internally, which I think they did a really good job at.
They did.
Especially for their first time working with one of these brand kits from an agency.
Yep. Yeah, they even mentioned when we saw them at the event how easy it was to just grab the graphics and logo and patterns and make a banner or whatever. So
yeah, it was impressive to see how much they actually used every asset, on everything from parking, signs to lanyards to everything. So it was cool.
Yeah, they went in. And that's always my thing. I've talked about that before. Like, you hand all this stuff off to the client, and there's times where they use half of it, and you're like, well, what about that pattern? What about this? What about that? This was not the case.
No.
So.
The curveball was they had an illustrator do the poster for this year's event.
Yes.
And they really were into the illustration, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But
we've never had that happen.
Yeah. So we had to basically start working around that, where we would probably have a different approach. Ideally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Ideally, you do the branding first, and then let's do the logo after. But they already had the poster done, so we're like, okay, we can do this, but ideally, this is not the ideal situation.
So whatever we did had to work with that poster.
It did. Yep. Yeah. So let's dig into some of these logos now. We'll run through them. So round one. So we knew, and honestly, kind of seeing that poster, it was kind of like, okay, there needs to be some kind of badge or lockup that's going to sit on this poster, So I think that's where you guys kind of headed as far as doing something that was a badge. And they also have, on this very first one, if you see in the middle, they have their logo. Which,
it's like a seal that they wanted to include at first. They want it, it's like their seal that they use for the tournament.
Yeah,
typically, right?
It's evolved over the years, but it's gone way back as far as the tournament has been running. So
yeah. So that was kind of a challenge because they're like, here's our seal, here's the poster, now create a logo that both of these work with, you know. So, so yeah, here's number one. Who was this?
This was mine. I definitely just tried to play off the basket that you see in the poster illustration. So
yeah, the basket is the most identifiable element out on the course. Like it's the most consistent thing in every disc golf course. There's going to be baskets. So as far as graphics go and elements like that, it kind of narrowed it down to
in that world. For sure. Yeah.
I mean, even being at the event when they make it in the basket, you hear those chains ring. You know, you don't even have to be looking. You know, you can be walking away and you hear ching, and then everyone screams, yeah, and you're like, oh, I made it. Yeah. You know, like, you know, it's not
a
like
recognizable
golf.
sound.
Oh, totally. It's not like golf where, you know, you don't hear it go in the hole. Like,
I'll be walking down the street and hear like a chain link fence rattling. I'm like, oh, someone playing disc golf?
Where's the disc golf?
So
totally. Yeah, that's funny. So yeah, let's move on to number 2 here. So then Richard, then now you're going to kind of see this challenge of the poster art that we're supplied, and then now, hey, we got to work in this badge, the branding with it. So great poster art.
Yeah, love the illustration.
Yeah, great illustration. Now being there, that hole is a pretty big hole right on the lake, which is cool. You know, so
it's an iconic course for sure.
Yeah. So simpler one. Was this Jordan?
Jordan,
yeah.
Some of the Jordans.
Yep. So keep it clean, one color.
Yeah.
You know, then how does that work on the poster? This one here was Dave's, right?
Yeah.
This was one of mine.
Yeah.
And then the ring is...
the ring is pretty special to this event, too. I think it's one of the only events where the winner from the previous year gets awarded this really cool ring. This graphic doesn't really represent it, but we'll show some later that do. It's like getting a Super Bowl ring or, you know, winning a NBA championship and getting a ring afterwards. You get it the next season. You don't get it right away after you win. So it's very similar to that.
That's cool.
Yeah, this is a cool piece. I like the lettering that you did on that. That's really cool.
So, I mean, you look at this piece, though. I mean, as far as a logo and a lockup, I mean, this is a badge. This thing's got a lot of shit happening, and it had to. You know, United States Disc Golf USDGC Championships. You know?
And we had to have it all
with
in there.
their badge to the left. Like, it was like you guys were supplied like all of this content, and like, hey, make this cool logo and badge that represents this event. This was a bit challenging, and then how that sits on the poster. And then this is cool. This you, Richard?
Yeah. And so the idea is the sun and the disc kind of just playing together, more of almost like a basketball sports style logo.
Yeah, and it looks fast. It represents the speed these people are throwing these discs.
You can hear the disc like hovering over, like you know.
That's incredible. These guys are releasing these at 70 miles per hour.
Oh yeah.
And they're going how far? Like
hundreds of feet.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
The top touring pros will throw it 400 or 500 feet easily. So.
Yeah.
Wild. And this is cool, Richard, kind of with the poster, and you got those scallops and spikes in the bottom. They could just see how this would relate to the rest of banners and things like that.
Made from that, or
for sure. So, and then going back to the poster, I mean, they didn't ask us to mock it up on the poster. We kind of felt like that was going to be the first use of the branding, you know. We're like, we need to show this. We need to internally make sure it's going to fit on this poster, you know, and how that's going to look. So
yeah, you don't need surprises after the fact.
No.
After they pick something.
Yeah, they're like, oh, this is amazing. You go to lock it up on the poster, and you're like, there's no way this is going to work. You know, this looks like two different worlds.
Totally.
So,
this was you, Dave, right?
Yeah, we got a little more wild with this option. Did some individually illustrated kind of letters. They all have their ties in with the course and the sport.
The S is going through that gate, which is a pretty iconic
the bamboo
feature
wall.
Yeah, where you have to actually throw the disc through the opening of the wall otherwise it's out of bounds, right? If you go left or right or over it. So
that was a fun one to watch live.
Yeah.
And then even now that we've been there, seen the flag used. I mean, that was a big part of like if it lands inbounds or out, you know. Like I didn't totally understand that till we were there.
I didn't know what the flag was until we were there. So
Yeah.
there's what refs on every part of every hole that have a green or red flag. So
spotters.
Exactly. Yeah.
Telling you whether you're inbounds or out of bounds because you're throwing from far away. You can't really tell most of the time. And
unlike,
you know.
I think there's almost like more obstacles in disc golf. Like there's so much OB, there's so much hazard. So you have to have those spotters because you're just. I mean, they were, I don't know what the ratio is, but I would say people were throwing it into hazards pretty often, even at that high level. That's how challenging that course was.
Yeah,
so.
and those spotters just keep the pace of play up, too.
Oh, yeah. Totally. This is a cool one.
Yeah, nice classic. This is you, Dave, right?
That was mine. Yeah, masked that poster inside the letters.
Yeah. Yeah, this would have been easy to use and across everything.
Yeah.
And then taking out the poster and putting it on top, which works as well.
And this is Jordan.
Just
solid.
Yeah, which is cool. I mean, we and they had asked kind of to see A to Z, so you have yours where each letter is super illustrated, and then you have this, which is very simple, very clean, which could work as well.
Absolutely.
I think they definitely needed to see this to know that this isn't what they wanted, but.
And we were still trying to feel them out a bit as a client, too.
Yeah, you
learning
never
each
know.
other.
Totally, yeah. Like next year will be much easier. So this is you as well?
This was one of mine, yeah.
Yeah. Getting
That's
the
a
movement.
cool effect. Yeah.
It is. I dig
Bringing
that.
some bright colors into the mix.
Yeah, it helped that the poster had a good, color palette to play off of. This is another one of Jordan's.
This is Jordan's, yeah.
Yeah, and this one is just a representation of the Innova logo, who is the primary sponsor of the event. Okay. So he was trying to tie the two together, which I really think he was successful at.
Yeah,
totally.
For sure. If you wanted clean, simple, this would be it, And it's going to work on the poster for sure. This one was cool. I thought this might be a winner if you kind of wanted to land in the middle of mild and wild.
Yeah.
That works well on the poster.
Yeah, it's still super readable, even though it's fun and playful,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good option.
And there's a big group of all the logos together.
It's a good set.
Yeah.
Some solid options there.
A lot of different options. So they were excited about the whole first round. They were like, oh, shit, this is a lot of, you guys supplied us with a lot of different options. And so we narrowed it down, went on to round 2.
Yeah, and one big thing that changed in round 2 was after they saw that first round, they decided that seal didn't need to live with this logo. That seal's going to live on for the tournament, but it doesn't need to be involved with this logo.
Which was great.
Great
lucky for us.
Yeah,
totally.
For sure. Yeah, so there wasn't a lot of changes on this one, was there, except for the ring?
Yeah, we gave the ring a more accurate look.
Yeah.
We took the C out of it, added it to the other ones.
Yeah.
This definitely has a sporting event feel to it.
And then, of course, works well on the poster there. And then this I thought was going to be the winner.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, they were really hyped on this. I love the different sizes of the type and letters, and
got a little wild with it.
This thing has some movement for sure. Yeah.
So did this change from round 1 a little bit?
Yeah, the type lockups around it changed. I had definitely something milder the first round.
Yeah, other than that, the letters and everything, the illustration of the letters stayed, right? Yeah. But I could see, like, if they went with that direction, like that type, the United States disc golf, and like using those different size types and different angles, like, could have been really fun at the event.
You could blow that out easily.
And then get crazy with it on the poster. And then Richard.
Yeah, I had to try something different. We were doing the typical disc golf stuff, trying to, think about the Dew Tour because they definitely like that. And I was like, okay, what's something different? And it's the U.S. Disc Golf Championship, so thinking eagle. That's let's just throw it in there, see if they like it.
Yeah, this eagle swooped in, and they really were just blown away. I mean, the eagle ties this in on so many levels. The U.S. DGC, United States, that's our bird. Winthrop University, the eagle is their
the mascot, right? Yeah.
Innova discs, their most classic disc is a rock, which is also a type of bird of prey. It's kind of similar to an eagle, so this hit on a lot of levels for them, and I think ultimately that's really what sold them on it.
Yeah, it was a fun one to make, and with the type and everything locked up, it was fun.
Yeah, it was cool. That turned out great. And then on the poster, nice centered piece. Like, yeah, can't go wrong with that. So that ended up being the winner. Richard swooped in with his eagle and took it from Dave.
Which I was happy to see, because that is a clean lockup.
Thanks.
But they were right away like, hey, we want to go in this direction with this, but your illustrated type, they're like, we're using that. That's going to be a T.
Yeah.
Like, we love that thing. So, yeah, that was cool. It was great to hear. So then you guys dug in and built out the brand book.
Brand book, gave them some different logo options. Had to build up an option without the eagle, because the way that bird is shaped, it does not want to sit on everything.
Horizontal.
It needs to be big. So
for sure.
we gave them a little more simplified option, color palette. Blew up some patterns. They were a lot of fun to work on.
Yeah, the patterns are really cool. I mean, that was used so much on the backgrounds of everything, whether it's jerseys, signage.
Right there, look at that jersey behind Dave there. Grab that jersey. So people were cruising around in this thing, and it looked good. It stuck out.
They were wearing it.
They were. And there was other jerseys from other companies, so it wasn't like you looked like some crazy wacko with this on. There was people wearing jerseys. But that thing's heavy.
Yeah, we did a few, and I think this was the popular one that we saw walking around the course the most.
I mean, the only one left was that small. By the time we went back that day, at 4 p.m., I'm like, we got to grab a jersey. I'm like, shit, there's one left. That's mine.
This thing is loud and it's fun.
It is.
I don't know if it's necessarily how we intended for them to use the pattern, but after seeing it and watching people wear it, it's awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah, people took to it for sure.
Yep. Yeah, it's great.
Right on.
Yeah, so... And then you created a bunch of other patterns, which they ended up using. I mean, dude, I saw some banners. Like, they had huge banners there that were, I think the fence was like 10 or 12 feet, and then they'd span, 60, 80 feet, and then just repeated. I was like, dude, these are giant banners.
There's lots of material.
Yeah, how many banners do you think was on that? Because this is a big course. How many?
Big course. So I don't know.
Definitely hundreds, maybe.
I would think at least 100.
There's a banner printer out there really happy
just
about this
smashing
event. Yeah, he is crushing it.
Yeah, and then I noticed on all the banners, on all the, they had the barricades blocking so you couldn't walk on the course. The banner folded over the barricade, so it was double-sided. So this banner was big, and then they folded over, and you could see it on both sides. So I was like, dude, these are huge.
They didn't hesitate to use the kit.
No, not at all. No. Not at all.
I love that.
Yeah, but you guys supplied them with a great kit here. You got the apparel mock-ups. You have the different graphics, which we'll kind of roll into. David did the amazing eagle sketches, which turned out great. So then we started building out the rest of the kit, the graphics and mascots. So what do we got here, Dave? We got basket.
Yeah, the green splatter flag representing inbounds. Green is good. It's like one of their taglines they've used in the past.
Green is good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think you said that when we were out there.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, it's green. What does that mean? You're like, green is good.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a good shot.
Yeah.
Inbounds on the bottom left, he's holding just a disc, and the other eagle, he's just showing off his bling. He's
Look at
putting that ring right in your face. Yeah.
That's funny.
He's got some sass to him. I love it.
That's funny. The little house on the far right, we saw that house.
The shack.
The shack. We didn't get to stay. The last day, we had to leave at 3:30 in the morning from the hotel to get to our flight. But on the last day, they were chucking discs over the lake and fireworks and shit from that shack.
Yeah, and that's butts right up against the last hole on the course. So it's the finishing hole. Get some big crowds there. It's pretty iconic part of the course.
Yeah.
Jonathan was adamant about including it in the kit.
Yeah, he was. I was bummed we couldn't kind of see that whole ending.
Yeah, same.
That would have been cool.
And these are T signs. Every hole has information. It gives you a little picture of what the hole does. Does it bend this way, that way? How far is it? What the hole number is. They have little state sponsors on every hole. So we gave them a couple different options for this, and they ended up running the one on the left, I believe.
Yeah, and you can see how much of that is out of bounds. So there's quite a bit of hazards and stuff that you have to work around there. But and those guys can throw a mile, so it's like they can overthrow that or go, there's trees that are overhanging. So it was pretty crazy. Like those guys are so accurate.
Yeah, so 18 holes on the course. They had one of these at the start of every hole.
Yeah, that was cool. Cool to see him out there. And then we did some banner mock-ups, which then they took and kind of made a bunch of other banners.
Mm-hmm. And the other cool thing about the event is they have this area, they call it Championship Village. It's where all the vendors are set up. And we thought they were going to run a banner at the entrance into Championship Village. So that's initially where these mock-ups came from.
Totally.
And that's where the pro shop was too, where people
all
can
the
buy all the
merchandise.
merch, and they had a bunch of merch, which at least at first, by the time we got there, they were selling out.
Yeah, we'll show a little bit more of that later.
Yeah,
which is a good sign.
Yeah,
and here's some of the merch. Yep. Which is some of it's available on the website right now to buy.
Cool.
Yeah,
it looks good.
Yeah,
hats sold out, I believe. Yeah. That yellow jersey was sold out. Stuff was going.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool even walking that vendor village, just to see the other brands represented there, with their discs and like crazy illustrations on these discs, like almost skateboard graphic style. Like I was like, whoa, this is gnarly.
Show this. You see that?
Yeah, that thing.
That.
Like
all the icons.
Foils, gold foils, like everything on these discs.
Yeah, and they have all these vendors that appeal to like all the different markets within the sport. We had like the heavy metal.
Yeah, what was the heavy metal one? Yeah, that was sick.
Then they have all the tie-dye, the Grateful Dead type stuff. So
that was cool.
It's a lot of up and coming brands trying to tap into the sport that's growing so quickly.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, there's so many disc graphics and different disc and like we had a bunch of graphics, and then there was like a bunch of colorways of each graphic. So it's
on
so
all the
many
different
discs.
molds of discs that they make.
Right, because there's we should explain that, right? Like there's drivers for long distance, there's fairway discs, right?
Yeah, there's distance drivers and fairway drivers. They are what you're typically throwing off the tee. There's mid-ranges that are right in between, and there's putters that fly straight for when you're just throwing that last shot into the basket.
Yeah, and so that curves less, which makes putting easier, right?
Ideally.
Yeah, yeah, not with me, yeah.
That's and we'd see people walking around with the backpacks, and these are just stacked up in their backpack.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, you said you carry how many?
Like 16 discs, probably.
Yeah, it's like a bag of golf clubs, but disc,
Yep.
Yeah.
They all have different jobs. They're all like old friends that I've known for a long time.
Old friends.
You get sad when you lose one in the water, right?
Oh, absolutely.
That's cool. Yeah, that was interesting to see. I figured it was all the same disc and whatever, but no. Totally wrong.
Maybe at our level we'd be playing with one disc, but not Dave.
Yeah. So it was cool to see the hats, the discs, the event poster, which was super rad. They had little flags. We had to take one of these.
Even just the little touches, like they had the flags and the table centerpieces in the area where everyone came to eat, and they had the big screen up, so you could watch the event while you're hanging and eating.
Yeah, that was nice because it was televised on pay-per-view, right? Like you could pay to watch it live.
Yeah, on the Disc Golf Network, I believe.
Yeah, which is crazy. Yeah. So they had that giant screen, which is cool.
And they utilized the graphics for the actual screen as well. So
you're right.
Yeah,
it was cool. Some transition graphics with the logo that came out really nicely.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. I dig this hat though. It makes a difference. They actually used a good blank, like a Richardson blank, which there's a difference between a good hat and a not so good hat, and I'm glad that they went with the better blanks there for sure.
Quality blank, good embroidery. Yeah. They look sharp.
Yeah,
totally.
And then we got a coin. They make coins. Yeah. Can't go wrong with a good coin. I don't know what we're going to do with this, but it's cool.
It's heavy.
It's heavy, so yeah.
Yeah, quite a few unexpected things, like the coin. Like, oh, okay, that was a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They did not cut corners on the product.
No.
So it was great to see.
Yeah. Definitely a lot of collectible items, and I think that's what a lot of their buyers do. They'll go to this event, get some of the items for the 24th year, and then when they come back 25th year, they want all that new stuff too. So they're just kind of collecting. It really lends itself to having a collection of gear.
Yeah, you could tell it's like diehard fans.
Oh yeah,
which is cool. Yeah,
totally.
So that was kind of basically what we did for them. So it all turned out great. Had talks with them at the event of kicking off next year's stuff early, so we have more time and
got great feedback. And I think one of the cool things about this client was that they were adamant about us coming out to the event to witness this, to help give suggestions to
Yep.
improve it
For
for
sure.
next year. So
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah.
It was
At times we have to kind of like reach out or be like, hey, can we attend the event or whatever? Dew Tour was similar where they're like, hey, we want you to come out. And they were very adamant right from the get-go, like, you know, we'll pay for your travel. We want you guys to be at this event.
Yeah.
that was
So,
special.
It
Yeah.
was, yeah.
It made a difference too, having that extra context for next year, like
Totally.
being able to see it in
Yeah.
person.
I mean,
Yeah.
as far as like Richard and I not really participating in the sport that much, like going there made a huge difference.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I got a
Totally.
total different understanding of what's going on, the customer and the whole thing. So
Yeah, it was funny when we first saw Jeff, our client. He did not recognize Dave. He's like, "Oh man, you're so much taller in person." So, like, for all you out there who don't realize, Dave is like 10 feet tall. So, yeah,
That
Zoom
was
calls
funny.
don't do you justice, but
that's great. Yeah.
yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It was.
It was.
Yep. Yeah. So thank you, Jeff and Jonathan. Good times.
Yeah, we're looking
Yeah.
forward to next year.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Can't wait.
All right. So that's a wrap on the USDGC.
Yeah.
2022. I'm
Yep.
sure we'll be chopping it up next year, talking about the 25th anniversary graphics we do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Yeah. So we got some new product actually back in stock in the shop. So the Drosh shit hat was always popular, sold out. So we got these back in the shop. We got some new the Drosh shit banners.
Awesome.
These are actually larger than the old ones. Oxford Pennant made these for us. Shout out to them. They actually had their marketing director sit in on our workshop at Creative Works, which is cool. We got to know her, so that was rad. But they produced these for us. They're 18 by 24. And then we got the no coffee, no work one, which
Yeah.
goes with the coffee mug
I got to get that
that
one.
we
I mean,
have. Right? Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good one for the kitchen or your office. So yeah, those are back in stock on the website. So
I actually like this size better for a wall hanger.
Yeah.
I know they. It's funny because they came in and even Dustin like, dude, these things look way bigger, and I'm like, yeah, what the hell? So I reached out to him. I said, hey, these things are amazing, and thank you for making them larger. You know, and he's like, oh yeah, it's totally my bad, but I think this is going to be the new
Looks good.
standard size.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, so-
I need that one. That no coffee thing really speaks to me. I mean, I can't podcast without coffee. You know?
Right. Yep. And we got the mug that matches this. So
Yeah,
rad.
these are sick.
yeah. So check it out. Cool. All right. Well, that is a wrap on 45.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. We're moving on. So
I feel like I hear a tattoo machine in the background.
yeah,
What is that?
those are getting warmed up. So more good stuff to come. So subscribe, hit the bell, do whatever
What
the
does
YouTube.
Jordan say? Bing?
Bing.
Is that the thing?
Yep. Yeah.
Right
So
on.
do all that. Appreciate it.
Go check out some disc golf too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dave, pump it.